looking to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, Malma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila and Vietnam. Hello, Charlene.
Hi, Alma. Hi, I'm Charlene Navaja, bringing you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines.
Actually, kailangan natin talaga, ma'am.
NTF, or National Task Force Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer and Vaccine Czar, Secretary Carlito Galvez, said the imposition of the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region starting Friday is needed to ensure that the country will not suffer the same fate as India.
It's huge potential. The U.S. has a lot to contribute in the years to come in strengthening the ASEAN community. ASEAN welcomes the U.S. strong commitment in deepening cooperation with ASEAN.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN member countries, and the United States affirmed their determination to work closely together to contribute to maintaining peace, security, and stability in the region, including maritime security and safety in the South China Sea and the East Sea.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations on Wednesday appointed an envoy to Myanmar after a months-long delay in diplomatic efforts to resolve the coup-hit country's political crisis. And for being part of the Philippines' most successful Olympic campaign ever, even those who failed to land a podium finish in this year's Tokyo Olympics will still receive a monetary reward.
And first, here in the country, National Task Force, or NTF, Against COVID-19 Chief Implementer and Vaccine Czar, Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr., said the imposition of the enhanced community quarantine in the National Capital Region starting Friday is needed to ensure the country will not suffer the same fate as India and neighboring Indonesia, which saw a significant spike in COVID-19 cases, mainly due to the Delta variant. Infectious diseases expert, meanwhile, Dr. Edsel Salvana, has warned that the Delta variant is 60% more transmissible than the UK variant or the Alpha variant, and 3 times more contagious than the original SARS-CoV-2 virus.
Actually, kailangan natin talaga, ma'am, yung issue. Though it is a very painful decision, nakikita natin talaga pagka once na at the verge na magkakaroon na ng collapse yung ating health utilization rate, talagang kailangan natin. Nakita natin sa Indonesia, lately gumamit pa sila ng mga 300 tanks to really implement yung ECQ nila, yung kanilang quarantine control. And then nakita natin kasi yung basic natin sa quality control. Bakit tayo nag-ECQ is because one, nakita natin sa presentation kanina ni Yusek Flores na yung compliance natin talaga nakita natin karamihan sa mga tao natin na hindi nagmamask. At the same time, yung vulnerability na sinasabi nga ni Dr. Salvana na fleeting moments yung Delta eh. Ang Delta kasi, kung wala sana Delta, madam, kaya natin sana. Pero yung Delta kasi nakita natin, what we're seeing in Cebu, and what we're seeing now in Cagayan de Oro, and what we're seeing in Hongkong, nakita natin talaga na ibang klase ito. So ang nakita natin dito is if we will not declare ECQ sa NCR, we will be next India. And Indonesia ma-experience po natin yan.
And then Delta, which is the subject of this hearing, this is 60% more transmissible than Alpha, or the UK variant, which makes it 2.5 to 3 times more contagious than the original SARS-CoV-2 virus. It seems to be deadlier, although this is still up for debate. Pero pag na-overwhelm kasi yung healthcare system mo, marami talagang mamamatay, as we saw in India, where you don't even have enough oxygen for people. Patients do tend to have more severe disease. And even younger ages, especially the unvaccinated ones, really do develop severe disease in a higher proportion. So this has been shown a lot by other people. But the bottom line here is that while the original virus from Wuhan could infect about 2.4 to 2.6 people, ang Delta po up to 8 people kaya niyang i-infect. And those 8 can infect 8 each. So the recent findings, and this is from an outbreak in China, which actually has controlled their pandemic, 1,000 times more virus particles than the original virus. And this is also something that came out from the Centers for Disease Control na nakita nila na in the past kasi, we know that people who are vaccinated who end up with breakthrough infection are a lot less contagious than people who have been who are not vaccinated. Pero because there are so many virus particles in Delta, even people who are vaccinated can transmit to a lot of people, although the person who is already vaccinated is more or less protected from severe disease.
And in another related news, the Philippines has set another record in its vaccination program as a total of 702,013 COVID-19 vaccine doses were administered on August 3rd, the highest daily throughout the country has recorded so far. Let's take a look.
We would like to present to the Congress good news that the Philippines have already administered 21,883,781 doses of various vaccines, with 12,058,315 Filipinos that have taken the first dose, while 9,825,466 Filipinos are now fully vaccinated, which represent 13.87% of the targeted eligible population, meaning 18 and above, and 8.85% of the PH total population. There was a significant increase in our daily jobs within this week, daily average of 529,911 doses. Many people, even our detractors, said that it's very impossible for us to have the 500,000. Now we are now breaching more than 600,000 and nearing 700,000 mark. And now we are now vaccinating more than 3.7 million jobs for a week. And we have, as SOH have said, that we have already breached 673,652 jobs per day.
The latest figures were released following the submission of the updated vaccination records of various implementing units across the country. Galvez said the high vaccination rate for the second dose of COVID-19 shots can be partly attributed to the deployment of the one-shot Johnson & Johnson vaccine across the country. The vaccines, which were donated through the sharing agreement between the United States and COVAX facility, were allocated for the A2, or senior citizens, and A3, persons with comorbidities groups, particularly in those residing in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas.
President Duterte lauded outgoing UK Ambassador Daniel Cruz for his personal role in improving the Philippines' access to COVID-19 vaccines. Take a look. In a statement from the Office of the President credited Ambassador Cruz for his contribution that led to the signing of a tripartite agreement between the national government, the local government units, and the private sector for the procurement of UK's AstraZeneca vaccines. To date, the United Kingdom has donated a total of 415,000 doses of AstraZeneca that contributed to the country's ongoing COVID vaccination program. The President credited Ambassador Cruz for the revitalization of UK's economic and political presence in the Philippines through high-level exchanges and dialogues. He also renewed his call for the finalization of a memorandum of understanding between the Philippines and the United Kingdom on the recruitment of Filipino healthcare professionals. The president explained that the memo is expected to ensure fair, ethical, and sustainable recruitment and employment of Filipino healthcare professionals in the United Kingdom. He also reiterated the Philippines' support for the UK's presidency of UN Climate Change Conference of the Parties, or COP26, this year, recognizing the UK's commitment as it steers the global climate agenda towards urgent climate action. The president also conferred on Ambassador Prus the Order of Sikatuna, rank of Datu, or the Grand Cross Gold distinction for his accomplishments.
To Maldives now. The health ministry says that there are no fake PCR tests in the island nation amid reports of media that police are investigating such incidents. Here's EBC Maldives correspondent Steffi.
Hello, Charlene. Good afternoon. Yes, Health Ministry states it is not looking into a case involving fake negative PCR tests at present. Health Ministry's Quality Assurance Commissioner Taslima Usman denied recent allegation of fake PCR tests, stating that the issue in question took place months back. According to her, that's an old case. They already informed the media back then when they recognized the issue. Taslima also said that no such issue has come to the Health Ministry's attention recently. Her comments comes after some media outlets reported that the police were investigating a case involving fake negative PCR tests, and that the case has been also brought to the attention of Health Ministry. Taslima denies the media reports. And in additional news, Maldives recorded an 81% increase in tourist arrivals in July compared to the previous months. Records released by Maldives Immigration on Wednesday afternoon shows 101,818 tourists visited the island destination in the month of July, a significant rise from the 51,166 tourist arrivals in June. It marks the second time for monthly tourist arrivals to surpass the 100,000 mark this year. Maldives recorded 109,585 tourist arrivals in March, marking the highest monthly arrival since the destination reopened its border following the COVID-19 lockdown. The top source markets in July were Russia, India, Saudi Arabia, Germany, and United States. The highest tourist arrivals in a single day in July was recorded on the 31st, with 5,315 visitors. And that's my quick update from Maldives. Back to you, Charlene.
Thank you, Steffi, for your updates. You stay safe out there.
Thank you so much. Reporting live from Maldives, this is Steffi Dihuan. We live in interesting times.
Now, room capacity and ICUs and local quarantine venues have been increased in Phuket to cope with the expected rise in COVID cases there due to the emergence of the Delta variant. And here's Ian Celada joining us live from the island of Phuket in Thailand. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Alma. Here's the latest news and update for COVID-19 in the island of Phuket. The island has recorded 65 COVID-19 new cases today, according to the Phuket Provincial Health Office, marking the total cases to 1,306 since the third wave began, and the total fatalities are 14, according to the Phuket News. There were also 43 Phuket sandbox arrivals who were tested positive after land Phuket, and does not include the latest COVID-19 cases tally. 402 people are currently receiving medical treatment. These patients are classified by the severity of COVID infections and by making use of three colors, green, yellow, and red. Red color, Alma, refers to the patient who are the most seriously ill, and the number of patients in this classification is very low. 18 were designated as red patients. Yellow color refers to the patient who experienced usual COVID infection symptoms, and Phuket needs very high bed capacity for this classification. 204 were designated a yellow patient. And green color refers to much less serious or minimal symptoms that has 75 to 80% of all infected in the island. 180 were designated a green patient. In relation to this, Almar increased in the numbers of ICU rooms and local quarantine areas to be prepared for the sudden spike of cases in the island has been announced and confirmed by the head of the Vachira Phuket Hospital. Local quarantine units or areas which were from 520 rooms to 729 rooms now, according to Dr. Kusak, the chief of Phuket Public Health Office. There are 33 ICU units now available, and there will be increased to 53 to 55 units by the end of this week, according to Dr. Chalimpong, the director of Vachira Phuket Hospital. Different measures are concluded in different parts of Phuket. Alma, there are areas are being monitored now by the officials too. The Phuket City Fresh Market on Ong Simpai Road, which is ordered to be closed for 1 week for intensive cleaning, and the fishing pier and Ban Nanai, where proactive screening is being conducted and found 216 people infected. And in Tambon, Tipkras Satri in Talang district is ordered to on lockdown as a person found to be infected in the workplace and spread the virus to the family members. 150 household villagers are not allowed to be into or out of the village. The Center of COVID-19 Situation Administration, or CCSA in Bangkok, initially announced that exceeding 90 infections in 1 week was reason enough to start reviewing whether or not the Phuket sandbox scheme should be halted. However, Alma, Dr. Kajunsak Kajarat, Deputy Director of Department Disease Control, last Thursday confirmed that exceeding 90 infection on the island within 7 days was not criteria enough for Phuket officials to reconsider keeping the Phuket sandbox scheme open. Dr. Kajunsak added that the evaluation under 3 criteria. Phuket sandbox can continue, but we will spend the next 2 weeks monitoring to see whether Phuket is still able to control the number of new infections. The announcement followed by Phuket Governor Narong Wansip last Tuesday, confirming outright that the Phuket sandbox scheme allowing vaccinated tourists into Phuket would continue despite the rise of infections across Phuket. Back to you, Alma.
That's good to know. That was my next question, if the Phuket sandbox scheme would continue, and it still will, so it's a wait and see for now.
Yeah. Yes, Alma.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you very much, Ian, for your update there in Phuket, and looking forward to the developments coming out of that island. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alma. Reporting live from Phuket, Thailand. This is Ian Silada, and we live in interesting times.
And also in Thailand, government starts Pfizer rollout. Here's our EBC Thailand correspondent, Jomer Baldo. Jomer.
That is correct, Charlene. The 1,503,450 doses of Pfizer vaccine donated by the United States have started its rollout as booster shots to medical personnel and frontline health workers in Bangkok and neighboring provinces nationwide, said the Public Health Ministry, as new record highs of 188 COVID-19 fatalities and 20,000 cases were reported on Wednesday. The vaccine supply arrived at Suvarnabhumi International Airport last Friday. Ramathibodi Hospital, Sariraj Hospital, and Chulalongkorn Memorial Hospital in Bangkok are the 3 medical institutions that will be responsible for the vaccine distribution, while local hospitals in the surrounding provinces will handle the rollout. Vaccine will also be shared to the surrounding provinces of Nonthaburi, Nakhon Pathom, Samut Prakan, Samut Sakon, and Pathum Thani. Dr. Opas Karnkawinpong, the Director General of the Department of Disease Control, stated that the distribution of vaccine will be as follows: 700,000 doses are set aside as boosters for the health workers. 645,000 doses are for the elderly and patients with 7 underlying conditions, minors from 12 years old, and women who are 12 or more weeks pregnant. 150,000 doses for expats who are elderly or are suffering from comorbidities, pregnant women, and Thai nationals planning to go abroad for education purposes. 5,000 doses for research purposes, and 40,000 doses to be held in reserve for outbreaks. Prime Minister Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha said on a meeting on Tuesday that he checked the vaccine figures with the U.S. Embassy and nothing was amiss, despite the social media rumors that more than 30,000 doses has disappeared because of VIPs getting the shots before everyone else. The vaccine will be administered to medical personnel in Bangkok and its surrounding provinces who voluntarily signed up to get the job, and then to other provinces nationwide. Meanwhile, new record high is reported with 20,960 COVID cases, while fatalities is at 160. Back to you, Charlene.
Thank you so much for your updates, Jomar. Keep safe out there.
Thanks to Charlene. I'm Jomar Bondedbaldo, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, John Merrill. And Charlene and I will be back right after this few reminders.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Your weekly dose of entrepreneurial inspiration to update you on the latest developments in the world of business. Get up close and personal with CEOs and thought leaders to help you discover valuable insights, sharpen your instincts for smart decision making with the latest markets and economic trends, disruptive ideas, global innovation, social entrepreneurship, and other leading-edge business ideas. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business, from vision to action.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eagle news, because we live in interesting times.
Welcome back. Thousands of military personnel from Indonesia and the United States are participating in joint drills for 2 weeks, described as the largest ever between the two countries. The exercises focused on island defense, and they are being held in 3 locations, namely Sumatra, Kalimantan, and Sulawesi. And this will be from August 1 to the 14th, according to to the Indonesian military. More than 2,100 Indonesian military personnel and 1,500 from the U.S. Army are involved in the drills, part of the yearly Garuda Shield exercises organized since 2009. Now, the American soldiers landed in coronavirus-wrecked Indonesia in late July, and they were tested for COVID-19 upon arrival. Indonesia Army Chief of Staff Andika Perkasa said the drills were aimed at improving relations between the countries and also upgrading the skills of both militaries. They include field training, live fire aviation, and medical exercises. The United States has been strengthening its presence in the Asia-Pacific region, and they've been wooing allies as competition heats up with China. Despite strong security ties with Washington, Indonesia has shown a willingness to maintain a balance in its relations between the U.S. and China, a key economic partner. Now, during his trip to Singapore last week, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin said Beijing's territorial claims in the South China Sea had no basis in international law. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is also scheduled to visit Singapore and Vietnam later this month.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, has called on all parties to exercise self-restraint in the conduct of activities that would complicate or escalate disputes in the South China Sea. In a joint communique released on Wednesday, ASEAN said all member states reaffirmed the need to enhance mutual trust and confidence and avoid actions that may further complicate the situation in the area. It read, quote, "We further reaffirmed the need to pursue peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with the universally recognized principles of international law, including the 1982 UNCLOS. In addition, they underscored the importance of freedom of navigation in and overflight above the sea lane, recognizing the benefits of having the South China Sea as a sea of peace, stability, and prosperity." The statement came following an August 2nd meeting among the bloc's top diplomats for the 54th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. During the meeting, some member states also raised concerns on land reclamations and activities in the South China Sea that have eroded trust and confidence, increased tensions, and may undermine peace, security, and stability in the region. China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam have respective claims in the South China Sea.
Now, Singapore's Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong warned the United States against aggressively challenging China, and he said Washington's increasingly hardline views could be very dangerous. He also said the United States had moved from an approach of healthy competition with China to the view that America must win one way or another. Again, let's listen in.
And that is U.S.-China bilateral relations. These became more difficult during the last few years. In the US, this is reflected in a deep shift in attitudes towards China, which is bipartisan and extends beyond the administration and the Congress into the population. And the same forces constrain and shape the policies of the current US administration towards China, as shaped the previous administration. In China, too, attitudes have become more assertive and robust. China's strategic and economic influence has grown. It's taken on a more active international stance. It seeks to reshape the international order to its advantage. Because many US friends and allies wish to preserve their extensive ties with both powers, no good outcome can arise from a conflict. It's vital for the US and China to strive to engage each other to head off a clash, which would be disastrous for both sides and the world. So in this situation, I would say to both, pause, think carefully before you fast forward. It's very dangerous.
Now, Prime Minister Lee, who is seen as someone with insights into the leadership of both countries, said Washington's tough views of China are increasingly matched by Chinese belief that the U.S. can't be trusted and wants to block its emergence. But Prime Minister Lee also cheered the Biden administration's return to a more conventional foreign policy after the disruptive approach of his predecessor, Donald Trump.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations on Wednesday appointed an envoy to Myanmar after a months-long delay in diplomatic efforts to resolve the coup-hit country's political crisis. ASEAN's foreign ministers said in a joint statement delayed by internal wrangling that they welcomed the appointment of Brunei's second foreign minister, Irwan Yusof, as the bloc's special envoy. ASEAN, which operates on a premise of consensus and non-interference, has been under global pressure to help resolve the crisis. Junta Chief Min Aung Hlaing attended an ASEAN meeting in April that led to a consensus statement that called for an immediate end to violence and a regional special envoy. ASEAN's joint communique said that envoy's task will include building trust and confidence, and he will have full access to all parties concerned. Yusof has already made one trip to Myanmar for ASEAN since the coup on June 4th, where he met with Min Aung Hlaing. The appointment of an envoy is expected to clear the way for ASEAN to send emergency aid to help authorities cope with the severe COVID-19 outbreak.
And staying in Myanmar, with hospitals in junta-run Myanmar empty of pro-democracy medical staff and coronavirus cases surging nationwide, volunteers are now going house to house to collect the fast-rising number of victims dying in their homes. Take a look.
လူတွေဒီလိုဖြစ်တာကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ကမလိုလားခြင်းဘူးဗျအတတ်နိုင်ဆုံးကဲကျင်တယ်လူနာတွေကိုကျွန်တော်တို့ကအမှန်ဆိုရင်ရဆိုကျွန်တော်တို့လူနာတွေပို့တယ်လူနာကိုဆေးရုံဆေးကန်းတွေဘယ်လူနာဖုံးဆက်လာရင်ဘယ်ဆေးရုံဖေးရုံအခုကအဲ့လိုမဟုတ်တော့ကျွန်တော်တို့ကဖုံးဆက်လာရင်ဘယ်ရေဝေးသွားမလဲဆိုတာပဲကျွန်တော်တို့ကမင်းနေရတဲ့ပုံစံပေါက်တယ် ကျွန်တော်တို့ကတော့အတက်နိုင်ဆုံးကဲတယ်ကျွန်တော်မနေ့မိုးလင်းလာတယ်ကျွန်တော်စပြီးတည်ရတယ်တနေ့ကိုကျွန်တော်တို့အနည်းဆုံး40ကျော်လောက်တည်ပေးရတယ်အေးအဲ့လိုပြောလိုက်နော်စီးပွားရေးကမှလာလေ46ရက်ွယ်ရောက်တကုန်းခဏလေးကင်ထားအေးဟုတ်ပြီဟိုဟာဖြစ်တာအားလာနဲ့လာပေးမယ်နော်ခဏတော့စောင့်မေးနော်ဒါပဲကြည့်ပါဦးကျွန်တော်ကဒုံတဲ့ဟုတ်ဆိုရောက်သေးပါလေကျွန်မဖုန်းကန်ရမှာတော့တော်တော်ကြောက်ပါတယ်ကြားလိုက်တဲ့သတင်းနဲ့အားလုံးကသတင်းကောင်းတစ်ခုမှမရှိသလိုသတင်းဆိုးကြီးပဲဆိုတဲ့အတွက်ကိုခါကြရင်လို့ခေါ်မလဲပြန်ဖြေခြင်းလောက်အောင်ပေါ့နော်ရှင်ထဲမှာခံစားရလွန်အားကြီးလို့ဟိုဂျင်နာလွန်အားကြီးလို့မဖြေချင်တာမလုပ်ချင်လို့မဟုတ်ပါဘူး
Myanmar's military seized power on February 1st ousting the civilian government and arresting its leader Aung San Suu Kyi. More than 900 people have since been killed and thousands of others arrested after the violent suppression of mass protests against junta rule. AFP TV meets two anti-junta activists who take part in flash mob protests and hope for the military to be overthrown. Let's take a look. Six months since the generals ended a decade-long experiment with democracy, large-scale protests are no longer the norm due to violent crackdowns and mass arrests. A deadly COVID-19 surge, which has left staff and volunteers working in crematoriums and cemeteries overwhelmed with bodies, is also limiting turnout. The World Bank forecasts on July 26 that Myanmar's economy will contract by 18% this year as a result of the coup and the coronavirus outbreak, with the poverty rate to double from 2019 levels by next year. In late July, the junta cancels the results of 2020 polls, claiming more than 11 million instances of voter fraud. On Sunday, 6 months to the day the military seized power, Junta Chief Min Aung Hlaing says new elections will be held by August 2023.
In a related news, Myanmar's ambassador to the United Nations, who has refused to leave his post despite being fired after the February coup, has alerted the world body to a reported massacre by the military junta. Kyaw Moe Tun sent a letter to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday, saying 40 bodies had been found in Kani Township in July in the Salagdoong area of northwestern Myanmar. The junta has denied the massacre, while AFP has not been able to independently verify the reports due to mobile networks being cut in the remote region. The representative wrote that soldiers tortured and killed 16 men in a village in the township around July 9 and 10, after which 10,000 residents fled the area. He also said a further 13 bodies were discovered in the days following clashes between local fighters and security forces on July 26. Kyaw Moe Tun added that another 11 men, including a 14-year-old boy, were killed and set on fire in a separate village on July 28. Now, in the letter, the ambassador repeated his call for a global arms embargo on the ruling junta and urgent humanitarian intervention from the international community.
And ASEAN in Focus, we'll be right back.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
Samahan sina Wedge Kujamat,
itong balitang panggising sa ulo ng mga balita.
Apple David,
Sa 60 katao ang isinugod sa ospital.
Phoebe Publico
Economic sabotage ang mga tiwaling negosyante.
at Cristel Fesalbon
Pagpresyo ng gulay, makakausap natin
para ihatid sa inyo ang mga kaganapan at pangyayari sa bansa at sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Mga napapanahong isyu ng bayan. May balitang sports, entertainment at iba pang kaalaman. Simula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng umaga sa paborito nyong morning show, Pambansang Almusal, dito sa Net25.
Pambansang Almusal.
Impormasyong mahalaga sa taong bayan. Patas na pagbabalita. Papakinggan ang magkabilang panig. Lilinawin ang mga issue at kaagad na ihahatid ng objektibo. Mata ng Agila. Tumadagit ng pinakasariwang pangyayari, hindi lamang sa loob ng bansa, kundi sa iba't ibang panig ng daigdig. Mula sa Eagle News teams at sa tulong ng makabagong teknolohiya, tiyak na makakalap kaagad ang katotohanan. Para sa mas matalas, malinaw at malalimang pagbabalita. Ito ang mas pinatalas na Mata ng Agila. Inihahatid ng veteranong broadcast journalist na si Eli Saludar. Kasama si Binibining Pilipinas Intercontinental 2019, Emma Tiglao. At pinangungunahan ng batikang mamamahayag ng bansa, Vic De Leon Lima. Mata ng Agila. Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 6 hanggang alas 8 ng gabi. Dito sa Net25.
Ulo. Sa ilalim ng dagat ay sisisig. Ang tahong ay hahanguin. At ang kita ay palalaguin.
Para ka kumita, sisipagan mo, tapos konting kapitalo, magpopondo ka para meron kang hanguin, no? Meron kang makuha pagdating ng oras. Mga 6 months, 3 months, pabalik na yung puhunan mo.
Kesa sa itapon, no, kailangan natin siyang i-recycle para mapakinabangan.
Iba't ibang sangkap ay lutuin. Putahing di kayang limutin. Ako po si Robin Padilla at ito po ang Vlog. Kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Welcome back to the program. Thailand on Wednesday banned sunscreens containing chemicals that damage coral reefs from its marine national parks. The kingdom's sandy beaches have long been popular destinations for millions of tourists, but concerns are growing that the lotions they use as protection from the tropical sun are harming delicate, slow-growing corals. An order came into force on Wednesday banning lotions containing oxybenzone, octinoxate, and 4-methylbenzaldine, camphor or butylparaben from Thailand's marine national parks. The announcement said that the signs showed the chemicals deteriorate coral reefs, destroy coral larvae, obstruct their reproductive system, and cause coral reef bleaching. Thailand follows the Pacific island of Palau and the U.S. state of Hawaii, which have already imposed similar bans. Violators face a fine of up to 100,000 Thai baht, or that's around $300, though officials have not said they plan to enforce the ban. Thailand's ski tourism sector has been devastated by the pandemic as the government imposed tough entry restrictions as part of efforts to curb the virus.
The Philippines has officially turned over its role as country coordinator for the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN-China dialogue, to Myanmar. That according to the Department of Foreign Affairs. In a text message, DFA Assistant Secretary Eduardo Mena said Myanmar assumed the coordinatorship during the virtual ASEAN-China post-ministerial conference on August 3. Throughout its co-chairmanship with China from 2018 to 2021, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. reported that the Philippines has tried to make as much progress on the Code of Conduct on the South China Sea or COC negotiations, even while the pandemic is ongoing. The ASEAN and Beijing adopted the COC framework in 2017 in hopes of a document that will serve as a guideline for parties in the disputed South China Sea, where China, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam have overlapping territorial claims. Last year, Locsin said he would push through to the second draft and get started on the third before handing the China coordinatorship to Myanmar. At the ASEAN post-ministerial conference with China, Secretary Locsin reiterated that disputes in the area should be resolved peacefully in accordance with international law.
The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN member countries, and the United States on Wednesday affirmed their determination to work closely together to contribute to maintaining peace, security, and stability in the region, including maritime security and safety in the South China Sea, or East Sea. Foreign Minister Boy Tang Son on Wednesday attended the online ASEAN-U.S. ministerial meeting conference, which was held within the framework of the ongoing 54th ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting. Speaking at the conference, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the Biden administration attached great importance to the strategic partnership with ASEAN and supported its solidarity, unification, and ASEAN's perspective on the Indo-Pacific. Take a look.
With its huge potential, the U.S. has a lot to contribute in the years to come in strengthening the ASEAN community. ASEAN welcomes the U.S. strong commitment in deepening cooperation with ASEAN. At the same time, ASEAN looks forward to working closely with the U.S., in particular with Secretary Antony Blinken, to further deepen the strategic partnership between ASEAN and the U.S. for the region's peace, stability, and development cooperation.
As I think you know, the United States is committed to reinvigorating our alliances and partnerships around the world, and re-engaging robustly in Southeast Asia is a crucial part of that. I believe you've already seen evidence of our commitment, both in our consistent engagement at the highest levels and the way we're working together with mutual respect, with urgency, and always grounded in our shared vision of a free, open, secure, and prosperous Indo-Pacific. The United States sees a strong ASEAN as central to that vision, and we remain firmly committed to the ASEAN outlook on the Indo-Pacific. We recognize the critical importance of working together toward this vision because, in addition to being good for people in Southeast Asia, it's crucial to delivering for the American people, which President Biden has made clear is the top priority for our foreign policy.
ASEAN and the United States confirmed they would work closely to contribute in maintaining peace, security, and stability in the region in the future, including maritime security and safety in the South China Sea. The United States emphasized its support for ASEAN's stance on the South China Sea issue and welcomed ASEAN's role in promoting cooperation and dialogue and building trust in the region, as well as ensuring the full and effective implementation of the Declaration of Conduct in the East Sea, or DOC.
In other news, Huawei announced on Tuesday it planned to invest $100 million to start up support at the inaugural Huawei Cloud Spark Founders Summit, which took place simultaneously in Singapore and Hong Kong. Now, Huawei said the investment would go towards its Spark program in the Asia-Pacific region, which aims to build a sustainable startup ecosystem for the region over the next 3 years. Huawei has been helping Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and Thailand build their startup hubs. At the summit, Huawei also announced that this program would focus its efforts on developing 4 additional startup hubs in Indonesia, the Philippines, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam, with the overarching aim of recruiting a total of 1,000 startups into the Spark Accelerator program and shaping 100 of them into scale-ups. Also at this summit, Huawei launched its Cloud Plus Cloud Collaboration and Joint Innovation Program to further ramp up its support for startups around the world. Huawei will devote ongoing efforts and leveraging its complete business portfolio in the Cloud Plus Cloud Collaboration space to foster technological innovation, global and local services, and business ecosystems, accelerating the growth of startups. And ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Stay tuned.
Factual.
We have to defeat the virus everywhere.
Timely information. Balanced, not only in the country, but also abroad.
I'm certain of one thing.
Interviews that people need to know. Watch Agila Pilipinas. A 1-hour newscast of reports coming from regional hubs in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Know the important updates in Asia in ASEAN in Focus. Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila Provincia. Tune into Mata ng Aguila, the evening primetime news program of Net25. Balanced and objective, Mata ng Aguila covers national and international issues, tackles news on business, health, science and technology, entertainment, sports and human interest features, and current events. And Eagle News International delivers the latest global reports, impartial, accessible, and up-to-date. It brings to fore EBC's rich international scope and access to valuable information streams.
Well, thank you to explaining our health outdoor.
Catch these programs on Net25. You can also watch our news programs through eaglenews.ph and Eagle News Facebook page and YouTube channel.
And welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. For being part of the Philippines' most successful Olympic campaign ever, even those who failed to land a podium finish in this year's Tokyo Olympics will still receive a monetary reward. The Philippine Olympic Committee, or POC, announced on Thursday that the MVP Sports Foundation will be giving away 500,000 pesos to each to the Olympic non-medalists. Everyone on Team Philippines in these Golden Olympics deserve all the praises and, in this case, incentives they need. POC President Bambol Tolentino said, "Qualifying for the Olympics is already that difficult. What more competing in the games themselves?" Benefiting from this development are rowing's Chris Nievares, taekwondo's Kurt Barbosa, skateboarding's Marjorie Vidal, shooting's Jason Valdez, gymnastics Carlos Yulo, boxing's Irish Magno, judo's Kiyomi Watanabe, weightlifting's Elrene Ando, golf's Juvik Pagunsan, athletics EJ Obiena for pole vault, Christina Knott for 200-meter run, and swimming's Remedy Rule and Luke Getty. The place in the history of the Philippines 2020 Tokyo Olympics team has been secured when Hidalyn Diaz won the country's first ever gold in the women's 55-kilogram weightlifting event. Nesty Peticio added a silver in the women's featherweight boxing event. Still in the running for a medal are golfers Yuka Saso and Bianca Pagdangan.
Now, finally, none of us are superhuman. If things are getting too much, ask for support from your friends, family, and even professional help, said ASEAN footballers in the hashtag #ReachOut videos. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations and ASEAN and the Federation Internationale de Football Association, or FIFA, joined forces to launch #ReachOut, a campaign designed to raise awareness of the symptoms of mental health conditions, encourage people to seek help when they need it, and to help eradicate any associated stigmas. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Neil Etheridge of the Philippines and Birmingham City Football Club. There are things we, ASEAN people, can do to look after our mental health. Talk about your feelings, keep active, eat well, do something you love doing, accept and love who you are. None of us are superhuman. If things are getting too much, ask for support from your friends, family, even professional help. #ReachOut.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Kwek. There are things we ASEAN people can do to look after our mental health. Talk about your feelings, keep active, eat well, do something you love doing, accept and love who you are, reach out. None of us are superhuman. If things are getting too much, ask for support from friends, families, and even professional help. Reach out.
なでしこジャパンの岩渕真奈です。
大家好，我是孙文。
안녕하세요. 토트넘 핫스퍼 여자팀 조서연입니다. 아시아에서도 정신건강을 위해 할 수 있는 것들이 많이 있는데요.
跟人讲述你的感受，这有助于保持健康的心态，以积极应对挫折。坚持锻炼、定期运动可以增强自尊心，也会让你集中注意力，拥有良好的睡眠和生活状态。
しっかりとした食事をとり、好きなことをする時間を大切にして。
우리는 모두 다르고 당신이 누군지 받아들이세요. 우리는 철인이 아닙니다. 힘들 때는 친구, 가족 아니면 전문가를 찾으세요. Reach out.
Reach out.
I am Shahrazin Said. I am representing for Brunei DPMM FC Football Club. There are things we ASEAN people can do to look after our mental health. Talk about your feelings. It can help you stay in good mental health and deal with times when you feel trouble. Keep active. Regular exercise can boost your self-esteem, can help you concentrate, sleep, and feel better. Eat well. Your brain needs the right nutrients to stay healthy. Do something you love doing. What is your talent? Enjoying yourself can help to beat stress and boost your self-esteem. Accept who you are. We are all different. We should all feel good about this. It boosts our confidence. Reach out. None of us are superhuman. If things are getting too much, ask for support from your friends, family, and even professional help. #Reach out.
Now, depression affects more than 260 million people in the world, while around half of all mental health conditions start by age 14. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death in young people aged 15 to 29. Among active football players, 23% report sleep disturbance, while 9% have reported depression, and a further 7% suffer from anxiety. Among retired players, these figures increase, with 28% struggling to sleep, and depression and anxiety affecting 13% and 11%, respectively. Thank you, Charlene, for keeping me company today here on ASEAN in Focus.
Thank you so much, Alma. And before I go, I'd like to greet Miss Jeneline Baring a very happy birthday. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nation. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. This has been Charlene Navaja, and we live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back tomorrow. I'm Alma Angeles. We live in interesting times.